Hello and welcome back to another Femme Tarot video. And this is another Mystic Voices video. And I've got a special guest today. And I kind of like stalked him on TikTok. I didn't stalk him. I came across him on TikTok and I really liked the way he explained tarot. And then I started following him and then I reached out to him. I'm going to bring up Isaac in a minute from Gold Street Tarot. He's great. He's got a great energy. He's a Taurus. We'll get into all that in a minute. And you know, I love Tauruses. And we're going to talk everything around tarot, divination, how he started his spiritual journey, how he likes to use tarot, because every reader reads differently and use tarot differently. And I think you will really enjoy this conversation with Isaac. And I'm going to bring him up right now. Enjoy the show. And before we start, let me remind everyone, because I forget, you know me, I'm a Dory. Please like this video, subscribe, and share with your peers and your friends, because who knows, someone might be interested in tarot or who's about to start the tarot journey, and they might want to watch this video and learn more. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for joining Femme Tarot. Thank you for joining my channel. Thank you for being here today. I'm really excited. We started already talking a little bit before we pressed record for this video. And I said, no, we have to stop now because we need to have this on tape or recorded before we go on. So how are you, Isaac? And before we start, I just want to tell everyone Isaac is an actor. That's his main job. And he's been doing tarot for about 4 years, is it?
Yeah, about 4, I think going on 5 at the end of this one. Yeah.
So we want to hear all about it. Now, just before we start, where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Gold Street Tarot. Just Google Gold Street Tarot. That's my Instagram, it's my TikTok, and it's my website, goldstreettarot.com.
Perfect. Right, let's dive in. So you're an actor and you've been doing this for 20 years, you said?
I'm going on 20 years. I started around 15 and I'm 32, so getting there.
Oh, wow. It's a career. It's a proper career, 20 years.
Yes, and you said it's my main thing. It's how I describe myself. It's my main anchor. You know, I am an actor. I did this way before tarot. Doesn't pay my bills yet, but
and he's just written a book, and we'll get to that in a minute. It hasn't been published, but he's written a really interesting book. I'll be reading it this week because he was so kind to give me a copy of his book, and only his mom's read it. So I think I'm the I'm the only stranger you've given your book to, and I feel honored. Really, I do. I'm grateful. So tell me, how did you get into tarot? Just describe us your journey.
So, as they kind of say, it found me. I was always interested in the occult and stuff growing up. My family is very religious, so it wasn't something I could do until I left. And I went and studied abroad one of my first couple years of college, living in England. And one of my classmates read tarot. She came from a family of seers and witches. And she was like, I think it just skipped me, but they want me to practice. Can I read your tarot? And she read my tarot like every day. She goes, this is really unhealthy. We shouldn't read as much, but I just need to practice. And I was like, okay. So she would just, and I called her a few years later. I was going through a hard time. I said, hey, can I get some help? And she goes, I put the cards away. I saw some scary things. I just put them away for a minute. But you can read. Anyone can read tarot. And I was like, okay. And that night, I started house sitting for a friend, walked into her house, and there was this table sitting there with a tarot deck on it and a beautiful cloth and a book. And it's like a light was shining through the roof, through the ceiling, onto this tarot deck, and it was just like glowing, and I couldn't help myself. I just asked a question, pulled a card, looked in the book, and it answered my question, and I was floored. And the next day, my twin brother came home with a tarot deck for me out of the blue. He's an atheist, doesn't believe in anything. Very odd.
Wow. But he's your twin, so you are connected more than anything.
Yes, very true.
So, because they say twins can be telepathic as well, and I do believe in telepathy. So I don't know if that applies for you two.
Mhm.
And what was your first deck?
My first deck was the Deviant Moon Tarot, and it is my favorite.
Ooh, how did you find did you find because normally everyone starts with the Rider-Waite tarot because that's the, let's say, classic system that everyone reads. I didn't, for sure, I can tell you. But and you didn't either. So how easy or how hard was it
To
using a
learn,
different deck?
I found it to be the only frustrating thing was that all of the books that I read all used the Rider-Waite system. And so, one book I found it said, "Use a Rider-Waite deck or something in its style." And I was like, "Okay,
Mm,
Deviant Moon is very much in the style of Rider-Waite, for the most part." Uh,
mhm.
so I didn't really have trouble with it. I just didn't like the Rider-Waite. It's just I didn't like it.
Same. I never connected to it. I've got it.
I've got
Just
one, and it's amazing. Pamela Holman-Smith did an amazing
agree.
images. Like no one can deny it. But, you know, we've got
Agree.
lots
But it what attracts you? I started with the what was it? I don't remember which one it was when I first started 20 something years ago, even more. Yeah, I think it's even more because I was 13 when I started reading. So it's 30 years. I'm so old. Okay.
oh my gosh, you look amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome.
Aquarians, Geminis, Libras, air signs, they always look youthful. They always have more of a youthful, let's say, glow to them. That's the air signs.
And earth signs? Am I gonna be okay?
You'll be fine. You're a Taurus. You thrive when it comes to challenges and obstacles. Tauruses do.
I do,
It's
I do,
almost
I
like a
love that.
motivator.
Yeah,
It motivates you.
yeah, so that's
Exactly. Head down. Like ready to rumble. So back to the thing. And then I kind of I got into all these more alternative decks, the Golden Thread. I've
Mhm.
got some quirky ones. I've got the Alice in Wonderland. I've got it here because I want to show everyone. I don't know if you've got your decks near you, but it's just great to compare different decks. Now there are all sorts of decks out there. Okay. This uses more of Alice in Wonder. Alice in Wonderland for me is one of my favorite stories as well. So,
That's what's cool about because the tarot is a story, you know, with a bunch of stories within it,
right.
and so every deck is gonna tell the same story in a different way, and so people always ask who are just learning tarot, what deck do I start with? What's a good beginner's deck? And I always tell them whatever attracts your eye, because you're gonna look at these cards for a long time and try and figure out what the hell they mean, So you want to find something that really pulls you in because if you don't like it, like us with the Rider-Waite, you're not gonna stick.
It's all gonna did you ever learn the thought?
I have used it, yeah, a little bit. I kind of did more of a dive learning about it rather than using it, and
Hmm.
I do have one based off of his deck, but it's not his deck.
Okay. Is it a pit deck or
Almost, it's like a
Mhm,
cross between a pit deck and so what I did is I learned the Deviant Moon, like the Rider-Waite system, and that was
mhm.
just I felt like it was all this extreme. So then I went and I learned the Marseille, which was the opposite side.
Right. Yeah.
And then I felt Thoth was right in the middle, and I stuck with that deck. It's called the Arcana Iris Sakura by Tina Gong, and that deck I used exclusively.
Nagong. Excellent.
Oh, amazing.
Excellent.
Um, yeah, I used that deck exclusively for almost a year.
Which ones do you use now? Which deck do you use now?
I've got a few. They're mainly gifted to me. I'm not a big um, collector, but they do get gifted. I use the Deviant Moon, and I use another one of Tina Gong's decks, which is the Seventh Sphere.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. And do you read wait, 'cause I think I caught something on TikTok. Do you read Lenormand?
Yes.
Me too.
I love it. It's
I love it.
incredible. It's incredible, you know?
It's such a Torian thing, I would say as well, because it's so straight to the point. So straight to the it doesn't go deep, it doesn't go wishy-washy, psychological, blah, blah, blah. It just like tells it as it is.
Yeah, like the tarot is like I think like the spiritual realm, the emotional realm, all that kind of stuff, and all the stuff inside us. And the Lenormand is this world, the tactile world, you know?
Exactly. And it's really pretty much just for people who don't know. So with tarot, yes, you can predict and you can use it cartomancy and all that, but and you can go really deep and do shadow work with that and just discover you can even read for past lives and etc. So tarot is very diverse. So you can do a lot with it. Lenormand is pretty much if you want to say, how's my week gonna be? I'm just going to go throw down cards and you know exactly what your week is going to be like. Monday, I'm going to receive an email. It's going to upset me. It's not going to be good. Tuesday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, I'm going to have fight. I don't know, with my partner, with my boss, whoever. So it's very, very to the point, which is why a lot of readers don't really use it that much. They do use it, but not as much.
When I first learned about it, I was like, at some little shop looking at tarot decks, and I saw one there, and I was like, "What is this thing pretending it's tarot? Like, it's stupid." And then I started to hear about it more and more, so I started to do some research, and then I started watching videos on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh, it is the tarot. It comes from the tarot." To me, it picks up where the tarot leaves off.
Hmm.
you know and I think it's so great because you can get these really practical day-to-day readings out of it, and I love to use it to find lost objects. That's what I'm always using it.
Oh, do tell.
I have a water bottle that a friend from TikTok sent to me. She makes it. It's this really beautiful water bottle, has Taurus stickers all over it, and I've only had it for like a month, maybe two, and I misplaced it, and I've been looking everywhere, 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 and I actually did this reading last night. And it took me a while. I've been putting the Lenormand aside while I've been writing this book, so I've been meaning to look for this water bottle. So I finally did it last night, and I was like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I'm just focusing, picturing the water bottle in my mind. Pull three cards. I got the man, the lily, and the house. Last time I saw it, I had gone to go see my grandfather that day. And I swear I left his house with it, but the cards told me no. You know?
Wow, I never thought of using it to find things or items or
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, you can do so much with Lenormand. And if anyone is fascinated, maybe we can do a separate video or I can do a separate just explaining how how it started, how it works. And there is, as you said, there's a lot of symbolism in the cards. For instance, the mountain card in the Lenormand, it has to do with jobs. It has to do with your career, with your job. So there's obviously you're either climbing a mountain to reach some kind of like goal you have, or it means that you're having a conversation with your boss and it's not going to be good. So, but it's the same with tarot. When you see, like when I see in tarot mountains in the illustrations,
Hmm.
sometimes my guides show me that this is about work, this is about career. So I
It's
use both.
not mixed them, huh?
I mix both. I mix both Lenormand and tarot interpretations and symbolism to do my readings, pretty much. And
I think that's
it's
wonderful. I think it's wonderful. I do as well. I've had to put Lenormand aside to get this tarot book out because it was my descriptions were becoming, how would I say this, very Lenormand, and so I was like, okay,
mm.
I got to put this away. So it's been last night was the first time I've read Lenormand in like a month, and it was lovely.
Wow, and we will talk about your book in a second, but I wanted to ask you, tell me a little bit about your spiritual journey. I mean, you came from a religious background, so your parents are quite religious. So I understand it's very hard. I was raised Catholic too, grandparents very religious. My mom sometimes, I guess, I don't know. She's a Gemini, so she changes. But my dad, not really. He's an atheist. But
Mhm.
regarding breaking free, let's say, from the structure, the contract that you were raised, which was heavily um, religious. How did your spiritual journey start?
How did it
And when
start?
did you have your spiritual awakening as well? Yeah.
That's an interesting question, and you're gonna ask me that, and I've been
Yeah.
thinking about it all night. So, um, growing up with my dad was a God-fearing Christian man, and my mom's Catholic, so and they're divorced. So one weekend it was Christian church, the other weekend it was Catholic church. So two very different, I mean, similar but different religions. And to me, they were the same thing. I understood it was one thing, there was one God, yada, yada, just different ways to go about it.
Right.
As I got older, I fell out of going to church like most people do when they're teenagers. And I didn't go into the tarot or anything I wanted to, but I didn't know anyone doing it. And if they were doing it, they were like, I don't know, weird.
Mm,
But I really wanted to. I never had like spirituality was always there, you know? And I just realized, yes, my mom believes differently than my dad, but they are believing the same thing, but they think it's different, you know? Because the way they, I don't know, to me, I believe all religions are the same. It's just our vocabulary and the way we tell the story is just so different, and we're so gung ho with this is how I see it, and this is right. But even within one religion, all the people in the church have their own view of it. So I just I've always been spiritual. It's just changed the way I use it and the
mm,
vocabulary I use. I try and use very neutral vocabulary. You know,
mm. Yeah,
as
I
far as
feel you.
spiritual awakening, um, I didn't know what that was for a very long time. Honestly, until like 2 nights ago, I was cleaning my apartment, listening to Rhonda Byrne. She wrote The Secret, and she has this new series of YouTube videos, real short, like, TikTok length. And she said, what one was called What is an Awakening? So I was like, yeah, what is an awakening? Everyone talks about that. Everyone wants to know about my awakening. And so I click it, and she said, the way she described it was just so simple. I was like, oh, I've been awake for quite some time. I think I had when I was quite young. I didn't even realize it was a very normal thing. It's just she described it as just basically being present, and I really think I discovered it on the stage. I remember being in acting school in England, and I played this really. Do you know Angels in America?
Mhm.
I had to play Pryor in Angels in America, and the scene where this angel comes down and oh my god, how funny. I didn't realize that. This scene where an angel comes down and tells them you have this message and you have to deliver it, pretty much. And I kind of had
Mm.
my first one then. It was the first time uh, I wasn't me. I was actually the character. Um, everything just and it was flow. There was no thinking, it was just something else took over my body and
Mm.
the scene, and I was able to do that on stage and in camera, and now my, goal is to do it every second of every day and not just save it for the stage, you know? And, it's harder than you think, but it is possible.
It sounds to people can have more than one awakenings, and it sounds to me you had like a preview of an awakening because I feel and one thing I want to say really random, just before you started talking about your awakening, I saw an orb. There was an orb right next to you.
Everyone
You
says
have
that.
to watch it back, you'll see it. It wasn't
I
just
People always say that when I'm on TikTok and stuff, that there's orbs. I don't ever see
yeah,
them.
I saw it was so clear. It was so clear. And the other thing is that there is a female presence with you. So
I get told that as well. I call
so
her Catherine.
she's behind you. She's a bit older. She's not like an old lady, but she's older, I would say around her 60s. And it's like she's very protective over you. I don't know if she's a relative, or if she's like an old neighbor. This is what I got in my head. Like you've known this lady before, okay, and she's passed now, but she's very attached to you. She's very connected to you because she's right there, right behind you.
It's so funny. You're not the first medium to tell me about this woman. Um, and I don't know who she is. I had one medium tell me, you don't know each other. She doesn't know why she's connected to you, but she is. And that made more sense because everyone else told me, like you said, she's a relative, but
No,
I
no,
don't
no. I heard like a neighbor. I feel that she's
neighbor.
someone. Yeah, someone like no, I asked you if she was a relative, and then I got no, neighbor or someone who lived near to you, nearby to you, and you would like she would see you every time you came in or went out, or she has that kind of energy. There was, I don't feel that you knew each other, like you were close when she was around, but definitely for
Interesting.
some reason. And what I'm picking up is that you remind her of someone. You remind her of someone. You remind everyone of someone, including me. You remind me of my brother. You remind me of my
That is, yeah, I get that every day. I can't leave
but
the house without being told that.
that's what she's saying. But this woman's a bit stern as well. She's got a little bit of a grumpy look on her. But anyways, she means well.
I'm getting used to her.
Do you feel her?
Yeah, I do. She's interesting. She reminds me of my grandmother.
Oh, the
Um,
orb just went by. That was her. The orb, everyone, you've seen it here. It's been recorded. So there was an orb
I
just passed
missed it.
right. You missed it.
I'm
You've
not
got to
looking at
watch
the
back.
screen.
You
I'm
watch
looking
it
at
back
your
and you'll
screen.
see. She walked in front of the camera, literally, as you were talking. You're special, Isaac.
I guess.
Sorry, go on. I interrupted you.
No, I'm trying to connect with her. Um, I tell her, I'm like, will you just? I want to hear you. I want to hear you. I want to like just appear. And she's like,
Ah,
not yet. She goes, no.
yeah, that's what I feel. That's what I feel.
But
She's a bit like,
yeah,
you know, she sees you more like I don't know. She has a long lost brother. I guess that's who you remind her of, and that's why
interesting.
there's a connection.
Yeah, I don't know, but I
Yeah.
get told about her a lot. Yeah,
Anyways, forget about this lady. She's taking over. But I just wanted to let you know because she's there. So yeah, and
thank you.
we were talking about your spiritual awakening. I feel that
Yes.
there's going to be a second one, which is a lot darker, um, a lot more powerful as well. So yeah, and
Ooh,
tarot is definitely getting you, speeding up the process for you to get to that point where you're going to have this major awakening, and then you're going to be, because you said before we started recording that you feel you're opening up, right? That your third eye, you feel like you're starting, trust and believe. And we can do a reading if you want. Like, I mean, you read for yourself. I can't read for myself, by the way. I don't know if you can read can you read for yourself?
sometimes.
Okay, I can't. Like,
I mean, I do all the time, but um, yeah, I do.
you
If you,
do? Okay, good. Lucky you, because I can't. Like, I just like sit and I look at the cards and I'm like, I'm overthinking. I'm putting my own input in it. I'm not allowing, you know what I mean? I block myself.
if
So
it's about love, I
a lot, yeah.
can. Yeah. But
Okay.
anything else, yes. But love, no. I gotta get somebody else for that one.
Okay, that's good. But no, but I just feel that it's sort of like bubbling, it's sort of like simmering, and it's happening. This awakening that you're about to have. And definitely tarot speeding up the process is definitely helping you get there much faster. So exciting times, sort of, because the awakening is not that exciting when it happens. It's it's painful. It's
That's what I
painful.
hear. That's what I hear. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really painful for me, and I know from others, like people and readers that went and what they had their awakening. Some of their awakening lasted over a year, which is a very long time to be in that. And yeah, they went through a lot, because the awakening is basically you're purging everything. You go through a major depression because you don't feel like yourself, you feel disconnected with the world, with the people around you. You start doubting your existence or the meaning of your existence. There's just so much going on, and I think anyone who goes through it over years, just they're heroes. It's a lot. There's another orb. But yeah, you are surrounded by orbs. Crazy.
I don't see them.
You'll see them when you watch the video, I hope. I mean,
Yeah, I'll watch it, of course.
well, no one sees them. I mean, I've had mediums who've been watching my videos, and then they're like, "Did you know you have a man behind you?" I'm like, "I've got a ton of like spirits around me." I mean, I don't see them when I'm doing the video because I'm concentrating on something else. Yeah, go on. Sorry, you wanted to ask.
Do you see spirits?
Yeah.
You see them? Is it in your mind's eye or do you see it?
Mine's it depends. So spirits, like deceased loved ones, deceased
Mhm.
people, I see them in my mind's eye. I'm clairvoyant, I'm clairaudient, I read energies, and I'm clairsentient. So I have almost all of the clairs, and
Yeah,
it depends. But I see them with my mind's eye, and I feel them. They send me like snapshots of things.
okay.
Um they talk to me so I can hear like I don't hear clear sentences. I hear words and then I have to kind of like decipher what they're saying. But when it comes to ghosts,
Mhm.
I see them with my eyes.
What's that
Do
like?
you?
Ah, I have seen them a couple times. It's been very small glimpses, and then last week I saw one full figure.
Really? Tell us.
Oh, scared the hell
Share.
out of me. Um, I was working on the book, and it was like 1 in the morning. I had this flash of inspiration, and I needed paper because a lot of the stuff is going to be done with marker and paper, and I was out of paper. I was like combing through old notebooks, old acting books, used right on the back of old scripts. Like I just needed paper, and I ran out completely. So I had to go to the store, get in the car, drive to the store. All of a sudden, wave of grief. And whenever I do, when I have talked with deceased people, it's a wave of grief. And I was like, okay, well, like who's here? Who's coming? What's going on? And as I'm continuing to drive, it just got worse and worse. And I could just tell, don't go this way. And everything was saying, don't go this way. In my mind's eye, I was crossing the train tracks. I saw someone run across the train tracks in front of my car. I didn't stop, couldn't have to because it wasn't actually there. But I decided after I crossed the train tracks, I'm turning around. And if I have to go shop on the other side of the city, I will. But I am not going this way anymore. Turn around, everything goes happy, everything goes well again. I don't know what was going to happen if I went that way. Went to the
Wow.
store, I got my paper. I get home, I'm parking. Again, the grief comes over. It wasn't as intense, and it was a closing. It was like saying, "You did it." I don't know what I did, but and then I'm backing up, and there's a man in my back seat.
Sounds like a guide. I think the man that you saw walking in front sounds like a guide, someone who was trying to like redirect and sort of like protect you or just show you.
I listened,
Um,
but yeah, it was odd. It was very odd.
the
I've never seen anything
wow.
like that. It freaked me out.
I'm sure. How did you feel afterwards? Like after the whole thing?
Fine.
You weren't like you didn't have the heebie-jeebies or like you calmed down.
I sat in the car for a second, looked in the back seat again to make sure. It's nothing. It was just the back seat, but I saw him clear as day. It was weird. He looked like me, but it wasn't me. It looked like just the same haircut,
I
bigger than
know.
me, um,
Mm,
and wet, which was weird.
I think it sounds like you might have seen it. It feels like you almost. It could have been your higher self, like trying to come down and connect with you and trying to tell you something.
Hmm.
That sounds like it. Because when spirits take our form or
Yeah.
sort of they do that. So they kind of like take our own characteristics in order not to freak us out and
Uh,
just to tell us that they're here for our own protection and
uh,
that they're part of us. So that's what it sounds like. But you're the only one who knows because it depends how you felt when that was happening or how you felt afterwards. So if you felt safe, warm afterwards, then that means that that was definitely a guide or your higher self and your higher self kind of like jumping in. If
mhm.
not, it could be, I don't know, how do you feel which um, I just thought of this question and I'll get to it in a minute. But it sounds to me because usually sort of like the more lower vibing spirits normally sort of take form, someone else's form
Mhm.
in
Mm.
order to gain our trust
Mhm.
and to lead us towards, yeah, like low vibing actions or low vibing thoughts. But do you believe in like, I'm not going to say demons because I don't believe in demons and I don't like saying that word, but do you believe in low vibing entities and spirits? Have you had any experiences?
I do, but I don't. The thing
Okay.
with this kind of stuff is it's very hard to honestly talk about because, like I said, with the vocabulary we use, it's
Got it. I know.
limiting. So, like, you don't like the word demon for some reason. I mean, why would anyone like that? Wanna use that? You know? Um,
Especially when you come from a Catholic family.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I believe there are different vibrational beings, different vibrational entities, different vibrational energies. Yes. Do I believe that they're all just because it's a low vibration, does that mean it's bad? No. There is something to be learned from it, you know? There is an experience there. Um, I don't entertain them. I say, go away. I don't want to deal
Mhm.
with you.
Mhm.
You're not for me, you know? Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just with the high ones too. I'm like, yeah, this is, I prefer them, when you feel that loving presence, that's so much better. But the other ones sometimes, because I have had deceased people just kind of enter in, not into me, but contact, reach out, and sometimes they're just lonely and want to be heard. You know,
Mm. Mhm.
I'm not, but I'm not afraid of them. I'm not. They can't hurt me. You know.
No, they can't hurt you and they won't hurt you and they won't hurt anyone. But the reason why I'm asking is because there is a misconception or a fear out there that when you read tarot, it's almost like, and this comes from a religion as well, right? That if you read tarot, it's almost like you're attracting these types of like low vibing entities in, which is, I've been doing this for a long time and I can tell you that's BS. Okay. And because I've never it's up to the reader, obviously, if you're open to it and you don't protect yourself before you start reading, then you can be open to, I would say, more like deceased people that want to come through, that might be grumpy, that
Mhm,
got a grudge, that
mhm,
they just want to send a message out there. They want anyone who will listen, they will talk to through the cards. But personally, I've never had a negative experience with tarot. I mean, I've had very deep and very sort of, how can I say them, darker readings, I'm going to say,
of
but
course.
that's who I'm reading, right?
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
who you're reading and their energy and the energy that they put in when you're reading them. That's pretty much it. Which leads me to my next question. Have you had a reading like a great reading where you felt, wow, this is amazing. So much came out. I've helped this person that I'm reading for. I've touched their lives. This is completely enlightening. And a terrible reading where it just went, haywire.
Yeah, I've had both. I prefer the happy end of the spectrum ones, but I believe, and I think you kind of mentioned this. Everyone we come across, it's kind of for a reason. There's something we can take from it. Sometimes when I do get those like lower vibrational, harder readings, I'm like, okay, there's a part of me that is still struggling with something here. You know, I believe everyone who I share a table with to read, there's a common lesson for us to learn. And so, yes, those ones are difficult, but again, I don't prefer them. I prefer to have the happy ones. But sometimes you just got to be blunt with people, and I can be. I don't sugarcoat when I read. I will use a deck like this, because it's nicer to look at. It's bright. Rather than my
Same.
Deviant moon, that's pretty dark and creepy.
It
But the
is.
messages are all the same. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If there are things that you are doing that so many people, I want this, how do I get this? I'm like, you say you want this, but you're doing this. I'm going to tell you, you're doing this, and you're not being nice. You're being
Yeah.
mean to people, or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm going to say it. I'm not going to sugarcoat everything.
Yeah, but I mean but I don't sugarcoat either, but on the other hand, I don't I don't go in expecting to read negative stuff. I go in with light and positivity, and it always comes out light and positive because there's always a positive message at the end, even if the reading is not great,
Yeah, the
right?
tarot is wonderful. It wants us to be our best selves.
Exactly.
That's
Right.
why it called us out on our shit. That's why it says, "Hey, do the hard work." You know?
Right. Exactly. And listen, and you know what? The tarot, I'm just reminding everyone, nothing is set in stone. The tarot sometimes, like with timings, we can be wrong. We can be wrong totally with timings. Things can change because you change. You will change things. You will make those changes in your life that will change the outcome. So don't blame the tarot if things don't come out, the way that we read it for you, because you've got incredible power. You are the master of the puppets when it comes to your life because it's been pre-planned anyways. So, and this is something that is important for us readers to remind people because they're always like, yeah, but they didn't come out, and you said that this was going to happen and it didn't. And I'm like, hey, wait and see, wait and see. It doesn't mean that it's never going to happen. It means that it's delayed for a reason.
I always tell people, you could get up and walk away from this table and walk out that door, and you can have the best reading in the world or the worst reading in the world. But you can get up, walk out that door, and get hit by a bus, and then nothing that I said is going to happen. You know? I'm not putting that on them, and I always tell them I don't see that in the cards, but you never know, or like something could happen, and everything I said goes kaput. But
True. Do you get that too, where people are like, especially people who haven't had readings before, they come to you and they're like super nervous, which is understandable and normal. But do you get it when because they expect you to read their death? Like that as soon as you throw the cards down, that you're gonna be like, oh no. Just like how it's depicted in Hollywood movies, like when they get the devil card, the tower card, and the death card. Yeah, those three cards. And
those are
then
the
the
only
reader is
three
like,
cards in Hollywood tarot.
I know, right? Which the
Yeah.
death card is a good card, everyone. So actually, Hollywood's got it wrong because the death
So
card
was the
is
Tower.
positive.
So was the Devil.
So is depends. I don't know. How do you read it? Let's talk
I
about that.
Okay. So before I get in how I read the Devil, um, I read everything falls on a spectrum. Every card, happy, negative. or healthy or unhealthy or whatever, however you want to look at it. And then
Mhm,
there's all
mhm.
this gray area in between. I strive to find the neutral meaning because from neutral, you can look this way and you can look this way.
Right.
If you're only on this side, you're in this, and it's hard to experience that and understand that side. Same from this side because you're so far from it, from neutral. So the devil, neutrally, to me, shows a well-worn path. Okay, just think of like you have a field of flowers, but there's a path that you walk down every single time. In that path, there's no flowers there, and they're not going to be until you stop walking that path. The thing is, with the devil, it's hard to get off that path because you're going to have to, like, trample the flowers or whatever. So we stick to this because it's routine, we know it. It also shows that things are going to happen. Like if you ask about something, you pull the devil card, to me, it's going, this is happening. You can't stop
Right.
it. It's happening. And that can be great.
That's true. I'm paying attention. I'm just looking. I wanted to show people devil card from different decks and how it's illustrated and depicted. You show your this is from the Cosmic Slumber, which I love this
Yeah.
deck. This
Okay.
is the Cosmic Slumber
Never
Tarot.
even heard of it.
It's a gorgeous deck. This is the devil. This is what the devil card looks like here.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a nice one. It's what you're saying. It's pretty much what you're describing. I feel this like flower power,
Oh, interesting.
psychedelic a little bit,
That's
sort of,
pretty.
which is the warped perception. This is how I read this devil card here. And I'm gonna find one from the light. The one from the light seers.
I only have one deck in front of me.
Okay. We're now looking for the devil. Oh, I got the other one. This is the light seers. This is what he looks like.
I've got.
Oh, that's a nice illustration of the devil
This is
depiction.
Mystic Mondays.
And this is
I
from
love
the
that.
light seers. Yeah, I think you've got this deck, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
So I love, 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 love this one. This is a great deck, everyone. The one I'm using, Light Seers Tarot, is great for intuitive tarot reading. So you see that from 3 or 4 different decks, we have different ways that the devil's depicted or illustrated. And I do agree with you because the devil is not necessarily the devil. So it is in traditional tarot. It has to do with addiction. It has to do with control. I read it as a narcissist as well. If someone's a relationship with a narcissist, then the devil comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's narcissist. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's anyone who is sort of like who wants to control situations, people who has like a thing for control. But I agree, it's also the devil is also a warning. So it could also be, as you said, like that middle ground where you get to that, but it's also warning you that you need to be careful. Like not everything that shines is gold, and that you should, right?
Well, I don't see it. Not a middle ground. A path well worn.
Path well worn. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah, it's very because middle ground would be temperance, which is just before.
true.
You know.
True.
So you got to be very careful. So many people, especially beginners, they because the tarot, each card we have these static images.
Mm,
Each card is a moment. It's a feeling. It's more than just this static image. It's not just this one thing. So, and they all blend together like it's a story. So these moments blend together, and I think people have a hard time seeing where one card begins and the other one ends. And so
true.
it's hard to see that. It takes a lot of study to see where they begin and end, but they don't. They all string together. But
They all form a story, as you said in the beginning, which is very right. Like a tarot, the whole deck is a story pretty much, which starts with the Fool card, which is the beginning of your journey. And to me, it's like, if in doubt, guys, if you've just started reading tarot and you've got doubt, always look at the card before and the card after. Not after you've shuffled, but what is like the sequence of the card, because that's it's going to give you that story. if you get stuck, if you get blocked,
Are
let's say the
you
devil card.
saying if you, like, pull the devil, look at the card you've pulled on either side of it? Or
No, I
saying,
mean
look at Temperance, look at Tower?
exactly.
That's another thing. Yeah, very Natalie, I love that you say that because one thing I tell people is memorize the order of the major arcana. So many people read
Exactly.
tarot and they don't know the order. You should be able to list it. Fool, Magician, High Priestess, Empress, Emperor. You should be able to go, it's only 22 cards.
Exactly. I absolutely agree with you guys. Absolutely. It's so important because you've got the Empress, you've got the Emperor, they're mom and dad. So you remember, right? What follows after mom and dad, or what follows before mom and dad? So if you get blocked in a reading, you can go back to that and think, what's the natural sequence of the tarot? What's the story? And you'll get it.
What I say is being able to, because divination is kind of something different, because the tarot can be used in different ways, just kind of like check in. But divination and seeing the future, knowing the future is knowing what comes next. How can you be able to predict the future if you don't know what comes next in the story? Like if someone pulls the devil card, you're like, hey, you're heading towards a tower moment. I don't know when this tower moment will be for you.
True.
But this is where you're heading. Now you can create this tower moment yourself, or you can have it fall and it be a true tower moment. But,
Good point. Good point. And also, another thing that you can do is also always have a clarifying card. I always have shadow cards as well. So let's say you get the tower card and you're like, oh, okay, I've got to tell this person that there is a tower moment about to come. Okay, because I do divination because I'm psychic, so I use it at the same time. So what I do is like I pull the shadow card, right? And it's giving me the story. What is going to cause the tower moment? Okay. And you've got that. So you can actually tell them, and depending on what the shadow card is, it could also mean that it's not even a real tower moment. It's basically your foundations are shaking. There's something that's going to happen that's going to shake the foundation, is going to take you towards a very different direction.
That's true. Sometimes the tower moment isn't a complete new foundation. It's just a earthquake.
It's an earthquake, exactly. It's a little bit of like, ooh, just a little thing just to get you back on your path, like a little whoopsie daisy. What's happening here? And it's the same with a lot of cards. I mean, I love how we talk about the meanings of the cards, and this I think is great for people. For instance, okay, let me ask you this: which is your favorite card?
It's so difficult. The Wheel of Fortune.
Tell me why.
When I first started reading tarot, it just was so fascinating to me. I didn't understand what it meant. Now I'd read all these descriptions to find out what it meant. And it's such a hard card to figure out what it means because it's bringing something. It's anticipation. It's literally when you you're on The Price is Right or whatever, and you spin this wheel and you're just, it's that, what's going to land? What's it going to land on? That's the feeling. And it's such an exciting feeling. Are you going to win $1 million? Or are you going to go home poor as you've always been, and it's just that anticipation it wakens you up, makes you feel alive.
I like that. I like that perspective. I like that because I always had the Wheel of Fortune as like, I always read it as things are changing, or someone has a gambling problem, or they should take that risk, or they should invest in that thing that they're not sure if they should.
Interesting.
Isn't it interesting how different people read tarot differently?
You read very classically is what I'd call it.
No. I don't like, for instance, the moon card for me is also the pregnancy card. That's not classic.
It is for me too. I mean, how could it not be?
Okay.
How could it not be?
Because a lot of readers use the Empress, and the Ace of Swords, or any ace could be pregnancy.
Swords for pregnancy?
Yes. If you look at the traditional books about tarot, they use they say Ace of Swords is the beginning of its conception, basically.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I forgot. There's so many things. Like when I first learned tarot, I was reading all this stuff and I was like, okay, but it just doesn't appear that way to me. When I would read it, doesn't come that way to me. Like pregnancy for me would be Empress, yes,
Yes. Yeah.
obviously. But yeah, the
Mhm.
Moon, Queen of Cups,
Yeah, Queen of Cups too.
um,
The
the
Sun.
Hangman. The Hangman can show it.
Ooh, tell me about the Hangman.
To me, the Hangman comes up, but it also shows me that you're probably going to have a premature birth, or
Mm,
you uh, might need help getting pregnant, like medical help.
interesting. See, it's interesting how you read it differently. I would never read it like that, like the Hangman. But it's so like I have the Sun card as another one.
Yeah, that one does nothing for pregnancy for me. I mean, it
Nothing.
could. If you're like, "Am I pregnant or will I get pregnant?" Sun card. I mean, sun card's a big fat yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but not like,
In a spread.
yeah, yeah, not really.
Uh, yeah, for me in a spread, it comes up as that literally you're pregnant with a son, like with a boy.
Mm,
And especially if someone, and it comes up to me when a couple has been trying for a very long time or they've just started IVF or something like that, the son card comes up as the
in
pregnancy one. Yeah,
in
it's
huh,
interesting.
yeah, it's
It's
so odd.
fascinating. But I'm asking, and the moon also has to do with the old, like the feminine issues, like stuff like that,
Monthly
and
cycle
death,
and all that. And
and
what?
death, and death. This is also my
Has
death
to
card.
do. I s You can see death in the cards, and I tell people,
I
you'll
agree,
eventually see
absolutely.
death in the cards it's as much part of life as living, so you're
Hmm.
going to see it, you know? For me, it's an odd mixture of well, it just depends on the situation and the person, but it's the way the elements will separate themselves. If any one card is gonna mean death, it would be judgment. To me, that's where air and earth
Mm,
separate, and,
no, I like that.
so that one would be death, but I've not seen it with that. When I've seen death in the cards, it's an odd mixture. It depends.
It depends. It
Yeah.
depends. And when I mean death, I don't mean the death of whom I'm reading. It means there has been a death in the family, or and then I start channeling when I get this card. Yeah.
Oh, how
Yeah.
interesting, the channeling thing. That to me, it just happens without me knowing. They'll just pop in. I'm here.
Oh,
Like,
really? Tell
oh.
me, tell me. So like randomly as you're sitting there, suddenly
I've learned to when for the random ones to just be like, no, thank you, or whatever. Uh,
mhm,
Sometimes they'll just pop in, and I've learned to kind of control that. But sometimes when I'm doing a reading for someone, and I don't advertise myself as a medium, uh, but sometimes I'll be doing a reading, and I can see that there is you know, someone has passed. To me, it would be the Five of Cups, not the Moon. Uh,
mhm. See, everyone's different.
and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, by the way, I'll tell the client, this person who's passed on, they're here because they'll just force their way in.
Yes, they do. It sounds that when you're in that zone, when you start reading, you're so open that you're able to channel and do mediumship, which is amazing, but you have to protect yourself.
Accidentally, yeah, I'm learning to protect myself. That's been the biggest
That's a
lesson for
must.
me. It really is. It really is. I didn't realize when I got into the tarot that I was also going to have to get into crystals and all the other stuff that comes with it. I had no idea
Right.
or intention to do that, but it's I have to. You know,
Yes. Do you have a ritual or a ceremony that you do before reading and for opening and closing?
I have a prayer
Hmm.
that I say. Yes, yes, yes.
Good, good. And then when you finish, when you end the circle, let's say, do you close it? Do you say anything? Because you have to.
Sometimes I do, but a lot of times I just forget. If it's a heavier reading, oh yeah, I totally am like, okay,
Yeah.
I have a ceremony. But if it's a happy reading, I I'm just like,
You
oh,
still have to do it. You still have to do it.
like I said, I'm still learning all the ways to protect and everything. But thank you for that reminder. Thank you.
Yeah, always like, I don't know, write it down, have it next to your deck, but you have to do it because a couple of times I've not now, but years ago where I would forget to close the circle and everything. I was carrying of so much energy and I was lightheaded and I had really bad dreams and I wasn't myself. It's hard. And also, I mean, the best thing in case you forget is just light a white candle when you do reading. That's the best thing you can do. That's a simple way to protect yourself as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Just a little tip, because
Thank you.
you're going to be doing it more and more, as also as people get to know you more and as, when your book comes out, you're going to be doing a lot more readings and you really need to protect yourself because otherwise it's going to really deplete your energy and you're not going to be yourself.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm just a regular person. Like I didn't know, you know, I think people assume because I read tarot, they'll ask me all these questions as if I know everything about
Mm.
protection and magic and manifestation and astrology and all this stuff, but we only know what we would kind of study. And my focus has been on the cards for so very long. Um, so yeah, I need some training or something, but thanks. The white candle trick, I will definitely do.
Well, if you want any tips, I'm here. And what crystals you can get a couple of crystals just to have, on your table when you do readings and stuff, just to protect
I've
yourself.
got crystals and I have a
Good,
whole when I read, my pockets are loaded.
good,
And then when
good.
I'm done, I empty them and they go in their space where they're cleansed, and that's the one.
Selenite bowl or something like that. Yeah. Okay, perfect. But let's talk about your book a little bit because
Cool, okay.
despite the fact that you're so, I would say, a little bit humble regarding like your tarot reading, and I understand you're like, I've only been doing it for 4 or 5 years, but still, I was impressed by the way when I first saw you on TikTok. Aside from the fact that you looked like my brother, I was impressed of the fact that you had a great way of explaining each card. It seems to me that you've done a lot of research and heavy reading around tarot and
Mhm.
not just like the traditional meanings but also everything around it, like everything around tarot. So, and you're please talk to us and everyone who's watching about your book. When is it going to come out? What is it about? I'll be reading it. So just tell us, and what made you write a book?
So I'm gonna start with the last question, what made me write a book?
Okay.
So as soon as I started reading the tarot, I just became obsessed immediately, which doesn't happen with me. I don't do that very often, but I was just completely obsessed and read everything I could about it. And I was reading all these books, and they all kind of, after a while, were kind of the same. And they were all telling you, this card means this card means this. But none of them, and then at the end of the books, most books will go, here's a sample reading. And then you're like, how did you get that? How did you do that? I can see how you got this little thing, but how did you get any of that? And so I was like, there needs to be a book that teaches you how to string the cards together. And I've done so much research because when I would pull a card like this, I freak out. Totally, I'd be like, so I did all this research to go, how is this card? What is the good part of this? What does this actually mean? It just doesn't. I don't have an addiction. What is going on? You know.
Mm,
Uh,
mm.
and so I wanted to create a book that its only purpose is to get you stringing the cards together, because that is the hardest part. And I think it's what keeps a lot of people from really being able to truly read the tarot for themselves or for others. Most people want to do it for themselves.
Mm. True.
And so, yeah, so I created this book. I'm still working on the title. I think I'm really leaning towards it's going to be Find Your Roots, a self help guide to the tarot, or
Mhm.
The Root of the Tarot.
And you're going towards the second one?
I'm really the root of the tarot came to me first, but I like the second one, Find Your Roots, a self-help guide to the tarot, just because it's explains the book a bit more. But
Ask your guides.
the title's this long.
But but these long titles work because
The
psychologically.
cards and the guides say find your roots.
Go for that.
Yeah. I pulled cards and I got the sun card for find your roots. So I was like,
There
well,
you go. So
how can I go
definitely
against it? But
that.
anyway, the
Go.
book comes out. So the editor has it right now. Once she makes those edits, I put them in. Today, I work on the cover art, and the rest of this weekend, I work on the illustrations, which are all going to completely change from what I had a week ago. But that's okay.
Really? Why?
Just it's slightly different. Just
Okay.
a couple things. Just like whatever I sent you, it's going to be different.
Okay. So you're tweaking them, let's just say.
Tweaking.
Okay.
More.
Okay.
It's going to be more concise and a lot prettier.
All right.
So once the editor gets it and I finish those illustrations, which will only take me a day or two, then it goes to the printer. That takes 2 or 3 weeks. So in about a month, I'll be able to ship them out.
Oh, nice. So it should be out. So it should be ready for people to order.
You can pre-order right now.
Oh, they can pre-order. Where can they do that? Listen, you have to send me everything anyways when we get off, so I can add it in the description box so people can find your book.
Okay, cool. So to pre-order the book or order the book when it's ready, go to goldstreettarot.com.
Okay, through your website. Perfect.
My website. And there's links in my Instagram and my TikTok as well.
I'll add everything down below anyways in the description box where they can find you, your website, everything, so people won't have to sit down and read what we're talking. Like, what did he say? Where was that? All right. So that's exciting. It's exciting. And I think it's wonderful that you actually wrote a book about tarot, and that is the biggest learning curve ever. Writing a book about tarot, I think, is just
interesting because I love the cards. I'm very confident with what I do. But writing the book really pushed me to go, is this what you really think this card means? Is this what this card really means for you? And it was definitely a challenge. And the cards, because the tarot has its own energy, it really pushed me. But it was fun.
I'm sure it did. And well, congratulations for writing a book and for publishing it soon. I can't wait to read it. And I think it's exciting. And who knows? I mean, who knows where this is all gonna lead you to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I never thought I'd be doing any of this.
Yeah, never say no. I never thought I would be doing YouTube and stuff like that either. But here we go. Here we are now.
I've only been reading this has been paying my bills for just over a year. Before I was waiting tables as well as reading, but yeah.
And I think the more the more you grow, and I'm sure people like this community, the Femmies, we call ourselves family.
Oh, yeah.
Femmies, yeah. It's just a beautiful community, and they're so supportive of anyone I bring on to the channel. They follow, they're very supportive of them. So I'm sure they will follow you and will support you. And yeah, and do that, guys. Follow Isaac and support him in his journey, because guys, we need more people like Isaac out there, people who went from a very religious background, nothing to do with spiritualism. You were never a reader. That wasn't your main job. This wasn't your main income. And now you've written a book about it. You're on TikTok talking about tarot. Now you're on YouTube talking about it. So that, we all need to support each other in this, because more and more people need to learn more about who they truly are, that we are energy beings. We're spiritual beings. And aside from that, anyone can read the tarot. Anyone. Just grab a deck, guys. Just order one from Amazon or wherever.
Anyone can read the tarot. And one more thing I'll note about that. Yes, there are these ancient meanings ingrained in the cards that have been there for God knows how long. But some cards, like we've already discussed, will be different for you, and
Yes,
you have to learn how to find that, and don't ignore that, because that's how we get these beautiful images on all these different decks, because it is different, and we evolve with the tarot and it evolves with us. It's a
I agree.
relationship.
Yes, it is a working relationship. And what I always tell when people ask me about tarot is like one simple exercise to do if you're new to this and you've just gotten your deck, your first deck, is just grab a random card. Look at it. I just randomly picked the 9 of swords. Look at it. Look at the imagery, close your eyes and see, what does it make you feel? Does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel bad? Do you feel scared? Do you feel hopeful? Do you feel insecure? What do the birds mean to you? Remove her. What do the birds mean for you? And start analyzing, reading. And this is how you become an intuitive reader. This is how you learn the meanings of each card. And as you said, every created tarot card creator has different meanings for each card. As we already showed you, the devil card is different for in each deck. So that's a great simple little exercise. I've got 2 kids, Isaac, and my son is actually, he's got my abilities too. He's young, he's 7, but he's very sensitive. So we do this quite often. So I just
Beautiful.
grab a deck, and then I'm like, what do you see? What do you feel? What does this mean? And he's spot on in his own little, you know, innocent mind, being a 7-year-old child. He's spot on with the meaning. So that's one way of learning this. Start that way. Don't go straight in reading books and trying to memorize meanings. That's a wrong way.
Yes, do that, but yeah, just sit and look at decks and look as many as you can as well. Like look at them, and that's what I did. The first time I had that friend's deck, and I said, "Can I borrow it?" Like the day before my brother bought me my deck, I just had my friend's deck, and I just sat here like this and just looked at every single deck, at every single card for a whole night.
Exactly.
Hours and hours, and I didn't put anything on it. I just looked at them and soaked it all up.
Exactly. Let the cards talk to you. That's what I do every time I get a new deck.
Yes.
That's what
Oh,
I do.
I get too
I
excited
go,
now. I'm just like, I read right away.
do you interview your decks? I interview my decks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You have
New
to.
decks is the best way, because every deck, guys, for those of you who know, every deck has a different energy. Okay. So I normally use these on YouTube, the Light Seers Tarot, because they've got amazing illustrations. They read well on camera. They're very light, very nice, approachable, friendly. They have that energy. So every deck has a different energy. So this deck is not for beginners, I can tell you. But this deck is like a Taurus. Boom. Like it will talk to you.
Which one is that? The one you showed
This,
me earlier?
yeah, the Cosmic Slumber.
Cosmic Slumber. Okay.
It's a beautiful deck, I can tell you.
How interesting. What an interesting name. Cosmic
And
Slumber.
it's so on point. So on point, this card. When you start read that energy, but it still has a light energy about it because of the colors, which I love. So every deck has a different energy.
Yeah, and mine, they tell me. I used to be like, you're asking this kind of question. Let me use this deck. When I was first learning, I had like 4 or 5 decks that would go with me everywhere, and then I got so many I couldn't carry that many decks, hurting my back. So now I take like 1 or 2, but I have my go-to deck that I always have with me no matter what, and then always I'll be on the way to leave, and then I'll have my hand on the door, and then a certain deck will go, "You forgot me." Oh, and I go and grab it, and then I get there and I do the reading. And I use that deck, and there'll be one card with this image, and someone will go, "Wow, that looks exactly like my daughter," or "Oh my gosh, I have that exact car," or just something, and I'm like, that's why I had to bring this deck.
Right, they talk to you, they talk to you, they think that, you know what's funny with this deck specifically? This is the last deck I bought because I have a ton. Um, and I said I'm not gonna spend any more money on decks at least this year. So when I saw this
It's
this
it's the
deck,
beginning of the year. You
I know,
got a long way to go.
I know, I'm trying hard, I'm trying hard. But so what happened with this one was like when I first saw it, I was so drawn to it and I went online and found it. And I put it in the basket. And then I'm like, no, I don't need another deck. I don't have time to get to know this deck. You know, I've got so much on my plate. I said I'm not going to buy another deck. No, no, no. And I was kept going back and forth, back and forth. Went to bed. What did I dream of? The deck. The tarot cards. The next day, the same. I didn't order it the next day. Went to bed. Again, I had the same dream. They were
Needed
calling
it.
for me. I
Yeah.
needed it. And then I said, okay, start it. I'm gonna buy it, bought it. I'm happy, but I haven't used them yet. This is the funny thing. I've used it for myself, but I haven't used it on anyone else yet, which is weird.
I like to have my own time with the cards before I use it for somebody.
Same,
You
same.
know, you have to learn it.
I
You know,
agree. You need to
besides
connect and
just
bond.
besides interviewing, you have to kind of learn it. Do you dream
I
about the
agree.
tarot often?
Sorry?
Do you dream about the tarot often?
Depends. Not often, but depends. There are periods or phases where I do. Yeah, I do.
What's been your
And that's when I
craziest
I feel that I have to cleanse them, I have to change decks, like, I should use another deck. Sometimes they'll call for me, like, lately, I've been feeling because 'cause I've been using these a lot, and I've been, called from another deck that I have that I should use that one. So then I might dream of it, I might be thinking of it, I might start obsessing over it. It's really crazy, like, how they
interesting?
connect. Do you get that?
I don't dream about my certain decks, but I dream about the tarot quite often, actually. Just odd dreams. Like one day I was just having a normal dream. I dream that I buy clothes a lot. So I'm in the store and I'm buying like shopping, and then all of a sudden I was just like, I told the people working in the store, I need a tarot deck. I need to do a reading.
Yeah.
And so I pulled cards, and it was the weirdest tarot deck I'd ever seen. The swords were feet, and the pentacles were pigs. Like just feet, like people feet. It was so weird, and it was so awkward, but it was
So
but it was this crazy reading. I was just sitting in the dream, just looking at these feet and these pigs, going, "What does the rest of this deck look like?" But I couldn't look away from these, and they just burned into my mind.
Oh, no wonder.
I have to make this deck now with feet and pigs.
I mean, you do get some random decks out there. I mean, you do get like some
But when
weird.
I'm gonna do it, it's not as weird as in my dream. It's gonna be very different. But
Okay, good.
we'll make
Good.
it. Yeah, it's not gonna be as weird in my dream. It'll be a lot more subtle.
Okay, good. Because okay, I don't mind the pigs, but the feet?
It's gonna be footprints instead of feet, because
Okay, you saved it.
yeah, I had to. I had to figure out a way to make it not weird.
Foot fetish, anyone?
Right? It was a weird, yeah, so it'll be footprints instead of feet.
Okay. So see, there's because I want to create my own deck as well, but and I'm gonna start this summer, but mine's gonna be more fun because I do these things. I don't know if you like Housewives or you watch Bravo.
Oh, I rarely watch TV.
Okay. So I watch that's my guilty pleasure and that's my escapism where I watch like Housewives and stuff like that. And we talk about them. I do collabs with other content creators on YouTube. Anyways, and I thought I want to make a deck out of the Housewives, like a tarot deck, just for the fun. It's not going to be, it's just going to be a fun. It's going to be a,
That would be great. People would love that.
I know, I know. I would love that too. I think it would be fun. And then after I do that, then I'm going to do my serious, like proper deck.
What do you wanna do for a serious proper deck? Can I
I
ask?
haven't, I don't know. What cats?
I said, "Can I ask?"
Oh, I thought you said cats. I'm like, not cats. But I don't know. I've been thinking a little bit. One thing is because of my roots, because my mom is half Greek and I live in Greece and I'm very connected to Greece. I was thinking about maybe sort of bringing that, like the mythology aspect into tarot.
Oh my god, will you please do that? I love Greek mythology. Please.
Yes, me too.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that as well. I might get your ideas as well.
I have, really for years, I've wanted to do an intense dive of Greek mythology so I can relate it to the tarot because I think it would really, because
It does relate. It does relate with tarot. If you think about the 12 gods of the Olympus, when you think about the mythological creatures that you can use for the major, there's just a lot there. Yeah, but you really need to deep dive to understand Aesop and the stories of Aesop, because I like the stories of Aesop too. I mean, they make so much sense nowadays. And just a lot of that Greek mythology in. And I think that's going to be the direction I will take it after the Housewives. Which very like, but that's so Aquarian, right?
yeah, yeah, it is, yeah, odd and different.
What
Good, you're
people
doing
say.
well, I like your style, I like that you do all that kind of stuff, I love it.
Thank you. I enjoy it, and it's light entertainment. I want to bring light entertainment and the spiritual aspect, so that's why I have different segments on my channel. But it's just, and I do it for me. Why not?
Exactly, you gotta do it for you, and I think a lot of people don't do that, they live lives for others.
Yeah, no,
Also live
not.
life for yourself, though.
I'm living life for myself, and I'm definitely though living for others. That's why you're on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. That we're serving others definitely, and helping everyone with this great ascension that is happening, with the collective ascension that's happening at the moment.
It really is, there's something happening.
Yep, it's gonna get bumpy, but it's gonna get so much better this year. Definitely.
Yeah, bumpy for sure.
It
But
will.
I see no reason to have fear. Yes, it will get bumpy, but there's no reason to have any fear whatsoever.
Thanks for saying that, because I've been saying that to everyone. I'm like, yeah, I know, because everyone's like, with Ukraine and Russia and blah blah blah, and I'm like, guys, there is a reason we're getting somewhere. This is why this is all happening.
It's gonna climb and build and build and build and build and build, and then it's gonna break, and that sounds terrifying. But it's just like the climax of a story. It builds, it breaks, and then story ends. Our story doesn't end because we continue, but I think we're reaching a point, honestly, right now in the world, and we've seen it happen the past few years, especially since 2020, where we're all going, we don't like that. As a collective, we don't like that anymore. Don't do that.
Let's
Yeah,
cancel everyone.
yeah, cancel. And it's going to get to a point, I think, where we're going to go, do you know what? We're done with separation and fighting, and let's just get along. It's going to be a rocky road to get there, but we'll get there.
But we see it already with everything that's happening in Ukraine, and how everyone, the whole world, has come together. And thank you for social media and the internet for being able to do that. It's brought
Really,
everyone together, and the biggest cancel culture I've ever seen in my life is what the West is doing to Russia right now.
yes, isn't it wild?
It's wild.
Have you read cards on it? Do you read cards on that kind of stuff?
I didn't. I do read cards on this stuff. I haven't read the cards, but I have received stuff.
Mm. Hmm.
Have you?
I have read cards, yes. Hmm.
Okay. Do you want to share, or not
Yeah,
yet?
and then I want to hear yours too, if you don't mind.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so when like Russia first invaded Ukraine, and we were all, and it was just my shoulders were up, and I tried to stay pretty level grounded. Um, I pulled cards, and I don't really read on politicians or anything like that, but this was just such a global thing. I feel I could read it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just pulled cards for a few countries: America, Russia, China, Ukraine, Taiwan, and then just laid some cards to say, show me what's going to happen.
Mm,
I don't see a World War III.
neither do I.
No. I do see eventually someone going, the buck stops here. We're not doing this anymore. You know,
Hmm.
in a
Hmm.
really, in a way that brings us all that brings unity.
Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
it's very interesting.
I agree. I was trying like pretty much what I got, like the first thing that I saw or they showed me when Russia invaded Ukraine was 72 days. I just got 72 days. This is how long I feel it's going to last. That's what they showed me. The other thing that I did see was that I agree with you exactly. I felt the same as what you saw and you read. And you know that cutting thing, and again, I don't see death or read death, but I do think that Putin will be out of this world by the end of this year.
Ah, interesting.
But
Interesting.
I've been feeling that for a while now, even before all that would happen. But it was very murky because every time I was trying to get into it and pick up stuff and get my guides to help me, it was very, very murky. But I definitely didn't pick up Third World War, and I've told everyone around me because they're all like, "Are we going to war? Is he going to push the button? Are we going?" I'm like, "No, no, none of that. Nothing's going to happen."
Because of cancel culture, I don't think we can have World War III.
They're going to cancel World War III.
Well, no, here's the thing, is like if I think the way we're at, if he did push the button, wherever he sends that missile, the rest of the world that isn't affected is gonna go, "Hey, no,
Yeah.
cancel." You know, it's just we're too advanced for it now.
I agree, and collectively we're not energetically. The collective energy is not going to allow that to happen. It's definitely not. But what I do think is going to happen is I do think that China is getting some ideas, and I do feel that there is going to be a tower moment to speak our
I'm
lingo.
glad you said that because I held back, but yeah, China's doing something.
Yes, yeah. See, with
Mhm.
Taiwan for sure.
I don't see it in a bad way. Um, it's interesting. It's interesting.
It's gonna be interesting, but guys, listen. Anyone watching, don't worry. You might see all these things happening. It's politics. It's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that we're not aware of. And don't worry, everyone's safe. And actually, this is going to be the year where a lot is going to change. A lot is going to change. People are going to change themselves, lifestyles, the way they eat, purge. The great purge has started, and it will continue. That's what I
Very,
call it.
very true. Yeah, that word has a negative sense to it because we kind of use it that way, but it's a good. It's good.
Yeah, it's purge to me is positive and negative, like purging the negative stuff and just purging the positive. But usually, if you have the need to purge, that means it's negative. It's not serving you, so out it goes.
We focus. I like to try, like I said, I like to try and find neutral. So for me, a purge is yes, you have to purge the negative so that the positive can fill in. Because if the negative's in the way, if you have a cup that's this full of negative, you can only fit this much positive. So you gotta,
That's a good
you know,
analogy.
you
That's a
know.
very good analogy. And it same goes with people who they say, you know what, I've been single for like 5 years and I can't find anyone. And I'm like, let's do a reading about what's been going on because you're blocked here, heart chakra. How are you going to allow new love or anyone to come in if you haven't healed, you haven't purged? You purge, you heal, and then you open up. Those are the
Yeah,
steps.
favorite things to look at. General love readings. I love when people go, I want a general love reading. That
Yeah.
kills me. It's so funny to me because I'm like, what does that mean? What does general love mean? You know, you gotta get specific, especially with love. How many people you dating? Who do you have a crush on? Who are you? Who are you blocking? Who's blocking you? You know,
Yeah,
we
it's a bit more complicated than that.
yeah.
My pet peeve question, since we're
Yeah.
is like, am I going to be okay? That's my pet peeve question.
Is it?
Yeah, everyone's going to be okay. Like, are you coming to read it to find out if you're going to be okay? The thing is, you are going to be okay if you put in the work. If you know, accept things that have happened in your life. If you start healing, if you start like it's not for me to tell you if you're going to be okay. You have to put in the
You have
work.
to make it. My
Yeah.
pet peeve one is, well, general love is my pet peeve, but the other one that's a little, it doesn't bug me as much, but will this happen? Will I ever do this? And I always tell people, let's ask how we can get you there.
Yeah.
Will it happen? That means
True.
that's you completely surrendering, saying, I have no control. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Yes, that happens sometimes, but will I get this job? Let's ask what you need to know to get the job. You know?
I agree. It's like that's the thing that I always teach my clients how to form the questions. So, because they might come up with a question like as you said, like or another question like, will I get the job? I'm just giving you like, I have an interview, will I get the job? That's the wrong question. We have to keep it like, what job will help me reach my purpose or reach my goal? That's the right that the it's the question. It's all about another thing about tarot. It's the question. It's how you ask. The
Yeah.
yes and no questions are no bueno.
You have to be careful how you ask the question too, because you can load it with something positive or load it with something negative, and then that
True.
skews. With the job thing, I always, especially if it's for an interview, I ask, how are they going to try and trip me up in the interview? And right, because interviews do that, especially for a job. They want to find your
True.
weakness. They can see, are you going to fit here? They're really looking at everything. So it's show me the challenge and show me my strength. And I do that for my clients all the time. And I love it when they go, oh my God, they asked me the exact question you said they were going to ask.
That's good.
That's really good. The challenge and strength is how I get through everything.
Tarot is what I love about tarot is like, as I call myself, a spiritual investigator. I love investigating. I
Ooh,
love like digging, 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 digging.
I like that, spiritual investigator.
Because that's what we are. Because we dig in, we look. We see things from different perspectives, and we want to know more. And then something comes up in the reading, and then you're like, let me ask about that thing that they just showed me, that the cards just showed me, and let's just dig in. And at some point, my cards are like, nope, enough, enough, enough. They'll send me the same card over and over again. That's them saying, stop.
Yeah, I've got my cards will do that too. They'll stop the reading.
Yes, 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 yes. Or when I start shuffling and all the cards kind of fly, that's like, girl, go to bed. Like, I think we have covered a lot. We could go on for longer,
I
but
could chat to you for hours, Natalie. You're wonderful.
thank you. You too. I feel the same way. So we'll do it again for sure. Would you be up to coming back?
Yeah, I would love to come back. Let me get this book in a physical form, and yeah, I'll be ready.
Exactly. We'll do it once your book is out and you've got it physical form. What we're going to do is going to do a live so people can meet you as well in the live. Can ask you questions in
Ooh,
the
okay.
chat.
Okay.
Okay. And then you can present the book to everyone, and then we can get anyone who's interested to order it while we're live.
Cool. Awesome.
And yeah, I could talk to you forever too. And thank you for joining, and thank you for doing this. I
Thanks
really,
for
really
having me.
appreciate it. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us, for watching the video. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're just new here and you've just come across this random video in your algorithm. We're really nice here. Thank you everyone. Till next time. Bye.